Welcome back. It is Friday, January 26th in the NBA. My 6 best bets are on the way. Let's recap yesterday. So close to a sweep, a 3-in-1 day. Let's talk about it. We closed off the night with De'Aaron Fox's over in points plus assists. A crazy game. That Sacramento's Golden State game was nuts. We had Randall's under in points, pretty sweat-free. Simone Fontecchio, he turned into Simone Jordan in the first quarter, scored 8 points, but then he ended with 10. We certainly will take a little bit of luck there. Then Jaylen Brown over 22.5 points did not come through. Had 15 at half, but he obviously did not cash due to a blowout. The blowouts kind of worked in both ways. So we'll certainly take a 3-in-1 day. Like I said, let's continue this momentum going into today. We will have day 1 of the ladder challenge live a little bit later on today. Stay tuned for that. Be live in the pinned comment. And of course, as always, if you are new, my name's Austin. Do us a favor, hit that subscribe button down below. Trying to hit 200,000 subscribers. Let's dial on in. We got a lot of picks today. I'm not going to waste any more of your time. If you want any sportsbook deposit matches and, deposit bonuses and all that stuff, details all down below in the description. The first pick of the day, one of my favorite picks of the day, is Paul George over 22.5 points minus 113 on FanDuel. Now, I would take this at 23.5, but if you can, line chop, definitely try to get 22.5 because that is a pretty big line because we've seen him end with 23 points several times this season. Now, PG and the Clippers are on the road to take on the Raptors. Now, Paul George, if you look at him just his full body of work this season, he's over in 19 of 31 games, 61% of the time, with Kawhi Leonard and Harden active. Obviously, we don't want to look at games where one of those guys didn't play because obviously his usage is probably higher in those games, but he is under actually in 2 straight games, scored 12 points on 5 of 17 shooting, and only 18 points, but shot 8 of 12 from the field. So coming off a good shooting game, just didn't have the volume. I mean, Kawhi was like 13 for 13, I swear. Harden was playing pretty well. Norm Powell was playing well too. I think this is a game where the role players don't show up as well on the road, and I think Raptors, we know they don't necessarily have all their defensive bodies that we've used to seeing them. Obviously, OG and Anunoby, their best defenders in New York. They don't have Jakob Poeltl. They're missing, I believe, Manuel quickly as well, but they're going to put out a lot of big men out there. So I think the way to beat them tonight is from the outside and the perimeter. That's where Paul George does the majority of his work, and we've seen him play pretty well against Toronto. His last 3 games against them, 23, 23, and 29 points. The 29 came just 2 weeks ago. Now, like I said, 22.5 sharp line. If you get to 23.5, you would have ended on the hook in 2 of those games in the wrong direction. But with the game on the road, I really think Paul George is going to have to step up for his team. And you look at his 3-point prop, they got the over 2.5 juiced at minus 180. So they're really confident he makes 3 or more threes. And this season, when he's seen Kawhi and Harden playing, and he's made 3 or more threes, which he's done in 21 games, he's averaged 26.3 points per game, going over this line in 17 of 21 games. So they're pretty confident he knocks down 3 threes. I'm pretty confident he does that, knocks down some other shots. I really like this matchup for him. Paul George has been better on the road, averaging a little over 1.5 points per game more on the road than he has at home. I really think the Raptors will try their best to slow down Harden. They've always done a good job against Harden, and also try their best to slow down Kawhi Leonard. And I think Paul George is going to get some open looks, and I think he'll get a good chance at knocking down those shots. So give me his over 22.5 points, my first pick of the day. Now, my second pick is going to be a guy that will be on the thumbnail. I really think he's got a great matchup tonight. It is Zion Williamson, over 33.5 points, rebounds, and assists, minus 105 on DraftKings. Personally, would not take this at 34.5. I was trying to secure the 32.5. That line moved up on me. Honestly, at the end of the day, I'm fine with it. I think if Zion goes over the regular line at 32.5, he's probably pretty clearly going to go over 33.5. We're getting at minus 105, nearly plus 100. I'll take it. Now, Zion obviously is very bit up and down, and this is a Pelicans team that really hasn't been involved in a lot of close games recently, but I think this one's close. And in his last 4 games versus the Oklahoma City Thunder, he plays tonight, he's at 36, 41, 39, and 38 PRAs. He's averaged 24.8 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, and a little over 5.8 assists per game. So going over and off for him. Now, obviously, some of those guys like Brandon Ingram maybe missed a game or 2, maybe CJ McCollum too. But I really think Zion's got the best matchup on the court for the Thunder, or for the Pelicans tonight against the Thunder. And the Thunder, you think about their lineup, they got really good guard defenders. You got SGA, Dort, you got obviously Jalen Williams, and then your guy at the 4 is Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey's probably the guy that's going to have to guard Zion, and that's a mismatch and a half. And I think Zion will take advantage of that. And while he is under in 3 straight, they really haven't been involved in a lot of competitive games. You rarely see Zion having to play the last few minutes. When they get to the 4th quarter, he's typically the guy they play through. And you look at this season, Zion has played in 15 games where he's seen 28 or more minutes with McCollum and Ingram active. In those games, averaged 36.3 PRAs per game, going over 12 of 15. when he sees 30 or more minutes with those two guys active, over in 10 of 11 such games. So I really think this is a good matchup where he plays the minutes. I mean, Zion's going to play over 30 minutes if the game's remotely close. He's just been involved in a lot of games where they're either down 25 or up 25, and he'll still play in the fourth quarter, but he's not getting that, second wave where he comes in with, 4 minutes left to go. I really think this is a good matchup. I don't like the matchup for McCollum. I don't really love it. Ingram can go either way. He probably gets Jalen Williams on him, but Zion's got the best matchup. I think they just hunt his matchup, and I think we see Zion dominate them. If they want to double team him, he can still do his thing. I really like Zion tonight. We know the Thunder give up a lot of rebounds and assists as well, so I don't mind his regular over and points would be the individual line I would lean for Zion, but we know he can go out there and grab 10 rebounds. He could get 10 assists too. So give me Zion's over in PRA as my second pick of the day. Now my third pick, give me another PRA line. I'm going to go to a different game where we see a matchup again of the two same teams. It's the Bucks versus the Cavs. I like Chris Middleton over 26.5 PRAs minus 122. Now, I would take this at 27.5. Chris is typically a guy that goes to 30 plus, or he's probably going to end with like 20. Now, honestly, I was hoping to get better value than minus 122, but I'll certainly take it. Now, like I said, the Bucks and Cavs once again going to take on each other. Now, in the first matchup, the Bucks were kind of smoking them. The Cavs made the game look a little bit closer than it really was, but the Bucks and Cavs, like I said, just played on Wednesday, and in that game, Chris Middleton played well, 24 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. If you need an individual line, points is the way to go for Chris. But in that game, we saw Giannis go off. He had 63 PRAs. Dame didn't have a lot of rebounds and assists, but still like 28 points and 33 PRAs on 21 field goal attempts. Giannis shot 24 times. I think this is a game where we see the Cavs switch the defensive game plan. I mean, they just let Giannis shoot 16 of 24. What is that, 75% nearly? You can't allow that to happen. So I think there are 66%, I believe. I think they play a little bit better defense on Giannis. Maybe they put Jared Allen on him. And I think at the end of the day, Chris Middleton's going to get a good matchup against the other guys. Also worth noting, Giannis is probable with back spasms, chance he doesn't play, which obviously might help Chris a little bit, but I really do think this is a good spot to back Middleton. He's played 30 or more minutes, so no minutes restriction in 3 straight games, and we've seen this season when he's played 30 or more minutes, which he's done in 12 games with Giannis and Dame active, he's averaged 30.7 PRAs going over this line in 10 of 12 and 4 of 4 at home. Obviously, back at home here, we'll shoot a little bit better than you would on the road. I really think this is a good spot to back Chris Middleton. He's been pretty good for us when we backed him. Obviously, he could shoot poorly tonight, but he's not going to get their number 1 or number 2 defender on him. He's going to have the number 3 or 4 option out there, and I really think he's going to have a good matchup here. So, Chris, go out there and dominate just like you just did. You could hit this over in points alone. We've seen you do that before. Go out there and dominate. Fill out the stat sheet. Give me his over 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists. You need to take individual line. Points is the way to go. I also don't mind his points plus assist line. Now, my fourth play of the day will be a guy we have mentioned before in this video. We said his name. We didn't really talk about him in depth because it's Lou Dort, the Torture Chamber. OKC Thunder over 10.5 points, minus 106 on FanDuel. I personally would not take this at 11.5. With low points lines like this, it can be a little bit sharp getting them at 10.5. I honestly wanted the 10 plus if I was like minus 140. Now, as I talked about with the Zion analysis, Lou Dort and the Thunder back on the road to face the Pelicans. Now, you looked at Dort over the last 2 games, you'd be like, oof, this guy stinks. Because the last 2 games, 6 points on 1 of 5, and then coming off a 2-point game, 0 for 5 from 3. Now, those have been good matchups for his other teammates. And prior to that, actually, he had hit this over in 6 straight games. I think like 8 of his last 9 prior to those 2 games. Now, obviously, the Pelicans are a team that have been pretty good, and they have a lot of great defenders in terms of, they got Herb Jones, they got Dyson Daniels off the bench, Trey Murphy, Jose Alvarado. They got a lot of guys they can throw at SGA. Now I was going to take SGA's under at 33.5 points, but I'm not going to disrespect it. Instead, I'll pivot to Dort, who I think gets some open looks because so much defensive focus is being put on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And I think this is a guy in Dort. We know he's going to get his minutes, an elite defender. They're going to want him out there. And he's one of their better, stretch the floor kind of guys. So I look at Dort coming in here, coming off a couple bad shooting games. I hope he shoots the ball a little bit better, and the Bucks think he does. His over in 3-pointers at 1.5 is minus 160. So they're putting a lot of hope that Dort is going to make at least 2 or more threes. Heck, that would be 6 points for us. And this season, when he's made 2 or more threes, which he's done in 24 games, he's over this line in 20 of 24 such games, averaging 14.6 points per game. On the road, same exact hit rate, 10 of 12 with 2 or more threes. Obviously, if he doesn't make 2 threes, whatever. We're going to take our L here probably because I don't see him scoring, a lot of points, not via the 3-point line. But I think this is a good spot to back Dort coming off a couple bad games. We've seen over the last 10 games, the Pelicans have allowed the 3rd most catch and shoot 3-point attempts, and they've allowed the 14th most catch and shoot 3-point makes. So you might be like, ooh, the 14th most, they're doing a good job. Well, they've allowed 10.3. The second most is 11.3. So 1 3 off from being the second most 3-point makes allowed off catch and shoot threes the last 10 games. So they're right there, right at the bottom of the league. And we've seen over the last 10 games, Dort averaged 2 catch and shoot threes per game made, most on the team, and 5.3 catch and shoot 3 attempts, most on the team as well. The next closest, I believe, is Isaiah Joe at like 3.7. So what a door out there. He's out there to stretch the floor. He's going to get some open opportunities, I'm pretty sure, tonight. We're just asking him to knock down those shots. He's getting to the free throw line a little bit these past few games. Obviously, SGA can get him into the bonus a little bit easier. And I really think this is a good game to backdoor. Come off a couple down games. I like this spot for him. I was going to take his points plus assist line. That was like minus 125, a little bit juiced on some books. I don't mind that, but I'd rather just take the over in points. That's what he's going to have to hit to get that over in PA. So give me blue door over 10.5 points minus 106. Now my fifth play will be a guy, another points prop. It is going to a Charlotte Hornets game, and it is Miles Bridges of the Hornets over 23.5 points minus 102 on FanDuel. Was hoping to secure this line at 22.5, but I don't see it going down from 23.5. I also don't see it going up to 24.5. Now, you talk about Bridges and the Hornets. They're at home. You're taking on the Rockets. Now, this game's about a 5.5, 6-point spread. Hopefully, the Hornets can keep this game close. And we've seen in Bridges' last 3 games, 25, 28, and 20 points. The best part, though, his volume, 22, 23, and 21 field goal attempts. He did go under last game. He went 7 for 21, 33% from the field. Yeah, what do you want from the man? Like, if I'm taking the guys over in points, what I know about Bridges, he's playing a hell of a lot of minutes, playing like 40 minutes, and he's shooting the ball a ton. That's what he's going to do. Mark Williams is still out. Obviously, Terry Rozier now in Miami. Gordon Hayward's still out. He's firing it up. It's LaMelo Ball, the Miles Bridges. Brandon Miller's coming on strong, but obviously he's still a rookie. And Bridges, when the ball gets to his hands, he's firing it up there. Now, obviously, some people could be deterred by this matchup against the Rockets, a team that is a pretty good defensive team. Their defense has not been the same as it was early on in the season, and maybe Jabari Smith Jr. guards him, but look, Bridges does not care who's on him. He's firing it up, and I'm not deterred away from Alperen Sengun, who's going to be camping down in the paint. Look, I think Bridges will get to his spots, and he's back at home. I think he knocks down some shots, and we've seen in his last 5 home games, he scored 22, 24, 24, 23, and 25 points, going over in 3 of 5. Obviously, all these games included Terry Rozier. Some did not include LaMelo, but we've seen, he's attempted 18 shots in all those games, and 16 of the last 25 guys with 18 or more shots for Houston went over this line. So the volume's going to be there for him. Even if it is a blowout, he still plays a ton of minutes, and I really think Miles is going to be firing it up. Also, the Hornets could be looking to move on from him, so they're probably trying to put him out there a ton of minutes, see what they got to hopefully get someone to buy high on him. So or sell high on him, someone to buy high, if you get what I mean. So I really think Bridges is in for a good spot. LaMelo is going to be a lot of people's overs, and I understand so. He's coming off a bad shooting game himself, but he's going to have Dylan Brooks and the other guys on him. So I really think Bridges is in for a good look. If he makes the shots, this is a no sweat bet. If he clanks all of his shots, he's probably still going to get close to like 18 to 20 points, and we're just hoping he maybe gets the free throw line, knocks down those shots. I really like Miles Bridges over 23.5 points. And then my 6th and final play of the day is going to be day 1 of the ladder challenge. I will look into it, maybe be a combination of some of the picks I've already talked about here, but I really like the ladder that we're going to cook up. It will be live pretty quickly after this video drops. I'm going to be working on it right after it. Probably just be a combo of some of the plays we already talked about today. Let's have a dominant day. Let's hopefully continue that 3-1 run from yesterday. Hopefully they'll not make that look like a fluke, and we can continue string together some winning days. I will see you guys once again back tomorrow morning with some more picks. I won't have my NFL videos live until probably Saturday. So no NFL picks today. We'll save those for Saturday, and we'll have a video for each of those games. But you guys have a wonderful day. It's Austin. Let's dominate. Go 6-0. No added plays. Just the ladder will be added in the pinned comment. And when it is live, it will be here. But while you're at it, if you're this far into the video and you haven't checked out our second channel video, I'll put it right here on the screen. I went to a Bucks game, and I did a Q&A with my wife, Trina. So you can definitely go check that out. It's linked on the screen. You guys have a wonderful Friday. See you in the next one. Peace.